Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and it is January of 2021. Oh, and what a great start to a new year it is. But with all that depression crap out of the way, let's get to something more positive, and that is 2021 is off to a good start for me at least. Been getting a lot of good studying done for my eventual future job, and I do recommend to everyone that even though everything feels on edge, just keep pushing through anyway. Just always try to accomplish something every day, even if it's something simple. Like for me, after I get done with work, see, when I go to work, I don't even consider work an accomplishment. That's just something that makes money. You know, what I consider an accomplishment at any given day is, did I get studying done? Did I get video work done? Or did I get something, life related done? And you should always try to get something done that directly that is good for your life, that will directly advance your life and your needs and stuff like that. Work is just work. It's there to provide money. If you enjoy your job, good, but for me it's money. And so just try to accomplish something. See, that's the thing. People like to talk about having a life that is, like it's a dead end life or something like that, but your life is what you make of it. And so if you have a goal and you achieve that goal, you're not just being stagnant. As I said in many other videos, how happy you are with your life and how good of a life you have really starts right here more than anything else. Because by some metrics, it could be said that I have, a soulless office job, but the reality is it's a perfectly good job. I don't have to deal with office politics. I don't have somebody screaming at me all day. It's just go to work, come home, make money, the end. And to me, that's perfectly fine because my whole life is not tied up in my job. It's tied up in literally everything else. Yeah, I may have to go to work 10 hours a day, every day. Although I've had more weekends in 2021 than I had in 2020, so there's that. But the fact is, my life is what I do when I get off of work. And the other thing is, don't live for the weekend. This was actually one of those self-help things that I randomly discovered via a YouTube thumbnail. I didn't actually watch the video, but it was like, that's true. You probably shouldn't live for the weekend. And so I try to make sure every day has at least one minor accomplishment. It doesn't have to be something big. It's just like, oh, I finished a chapter, or I got another quarter of a video edited. It's all little things like that. All the little things add up to big things, and make sure that 2021 adds up to something good. So with that hippy-dippy stuff done for another month, let's talk about YouTube videos. So 2021 already has, we're off to a good start with Rage. I knew there were going to be some Rage fans that really like the game, and I will say there is good parts about Rage. It's not a god-awful game, it's just not a good game. As I said in the video, there's a lot worse games out there than Rage, like Duke Nukem Forever, or, like a lot of those, throwaway first-person shooters from, like, Infinity Ward or EA. So, but Rage, I'm holding Rage to a much higher standard than I am those games. And Rage falls flat, that's just, it's sad that it does, but it does. Rage 2, we'll see about it at some point, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So then moving on from that, right now we're live streaming Wolfenstein 2009, and there is going to be a Wolf 2009 video in March. February I've already earmarked for AVP 2010. That is my birthday month, and I figured I might as well talk about my favorite franchise of all time, Alien vs. Predator. In the live stream, I talked about how the game is certainly not nearly as bad as I said it was back during the salty years. Longtime fans will know that there was a time period in my life that I called it the hate period. I am no longer so emo that I wear mascara. Actually, I never wore mascara, but I'm no longer emo to the point where I'd call something the hate period. Now it's like, it was salty. It was the salty years, ladies and gentlemen, where I was extra salty for no real good reason. The same years where I would call cookies flatbread. So now that the salty years are long since over, I can appreciate the good elements of AVP 2010. And AVP 2010, if that's the only Alien vs. Predator game you've ever played, it's still a good game. It's not a great game like AVP 1 or AVP 2, but it's still a perfectly serviceable first-person shooter with, some good bosses here and there, and it's pretty good. I'm going to be talking about that in February. Then I'm going to be talking about Wolfenstein 2009. That, of course, is a game that I was salty about quite unfairly, I might add, because I'd only played like the first couple hours of Wolfenstein 2009, and I was completely unfair when it came to that, because I was salty about it because it wasn't Return to Castle. But the reality is, it is more Return to Castle than Wolfenstein The New Order ever was. And I mentioned this in the live stream, but Wolfenstein The New Order is a good game, but it is more... When it came out, I was still kind of salty about a lot of things, and so I was brought in to Wolfenstein The New Order more than I was Wolfenstein 2009, because The New Order, you have non-regenerative health, it had really good presentation, but 2009 is more of a fun game, I think, than Wolfenstein The New Order is. New Order, it's very cinematic, and I think it loses some of that charm that the older Wolfensteins had. So I'm looking forward to getting that video out. This year, we're also getting some more AVP content as well. In addition to 2010, I'm going to finally review, I can't believe I forgot about this game all these years, AVP 2 Primal Hunt. That's a game that, according to the things I've read, apparently people hated it back in the day. But seeing as how I was a people back in the day, I didn't hate it. In fact, I quite liked it. There was certainly nothing that I remember being wrong in AVP Primal Hunt. I do remember it not running as well as AVP 2 did, but it could have just been the fact that it needed higher system requirements than my really basic Dell back in the day. My Dell, I don't remember what the name of the computer was, but it was a fairly, I'm not going to say inexpensive. That was computers are way cheaper today than they ever were back in the day. So that Dell PC, I can kind of look upon that as pretty primitive, but it weren't cheap at all. But it had like an Intel Pentium 4, I don't remember what speed it ran at, and 256 megabytes of RAM. 256 megabytes of RAM, oh my god! And it didn't even have a graphics card, it had Intel onboard graphics. But I recall it running a little worse than AVP2 did. I'm not really sure why that was, but it did. But I remember the campaign being fairly fun. They added a few things. I think you could carry around a sentry gun. The Predator had this little arm blaster thing. I thought it was perfectly good. Maybe it isn't. We'll see. I'm going to live stream that late February or whenever I finish Wolfenstein 2009, I'm going to live stream AVP2 Primal Hunt. After that, for May the 4th, I am going to do a Star Wars game. I did not plan that. In fact, it was a friend of mine mentioning, are you going to do anything for May the 4th? I was like, no, I didn't really think I was. And then I thought, wait a minute, I could do Episode 1, Battle for Naboo. And so that's going to be the May the 4th review. Seeing as how, Mando proved to be such a good show, and I hope it stays good, but you never know. There will be a review of that particular Star Wars game, especially since it actually works with RetroArch now. I did actually buy an upscaler to use the original N64 for Star Wars year, but thankfully I can just use it via RetroArch. Also later this year, we're going to see a review, finally, of one of my favorite RPGs of all time, Fallout New Vegas. I got inspired to play that game due to Fallout The Frontier. I didn't really, which is a mod for New Vegas. I didn't really enjoy The Frontier that much, though. I didn't come close to beating it or anything, but I didn't really like the story all that much. I'll give it another shot later on, but it inspired me to play the base game of Fallout New Vegas, and that game still holds up like you wouldn't believe. I, of course, modded the shit out of that because, well, why would you not mod a Game Bro game? I got high-res texture packs, but I also got a custom race mod where I can play as a robot. And to me, it makes a lot of sense to play as a robot in Fallout New Vegas, because if you get shot 3 times in the chest with a 5.56, no amount of stim packs are going to help you. But if you're a robot, then, you squirt some Wonder Glue on there, and there you go, you're good to go. The VATS makes a lot more sense. So I'm quite enjoying my little robot playthrough. I also have a custom armor mod of the Panzer Cop armor from General Wolf Brigade, which is another show that I really need to watch at some point. Rewatch, I should say, because I haven't seen it since 2014. So yeah, there's going to be a Fallout New Vegas video. I'm not going to do a live stream of that, because live streaming a RPG just isn't an easy thing to do, because there's a lot of downtime in RPGs. And I don't think anyone would find it particularly entertaining seeing me going around and looting everything in sight. Let's see, what else we got? There's going to be a book review coming in February as well. I just haven't had time to really get a lot of those out. I actually have some new custom thumbnail art for that as well. And it's going to be a review of Shadow of the Conqueror, which is a novel written by a YouTuber, believe it or not, named Shad Diversity, or Shad M. Brooks. He does a number of pop culture weapons, and he talks about swords and stuff like that. And he's actually a remarkably good first-time writer. I don't think that's his first book that he ever wrote. I'm sure that Shadow of the Conqueror went through many revisions before it finally was sent to the publisher, but it is damn good. It is on par with Chris Nuttall stuff, although it's not quite as punchy as a Chris Nuttall book. There is a little bit of downtime going on in Shadow of the Conqueror. I'm going to mention all this in the review, where there's a lot of standing around talking, where there's some over-explanations. I don't need a mass times energy equation in my book. I mean, I understand you're trying to be a little more scientifically accurate, but just say it uses light to move or something like that. Nobody's going to be going and writing down like, wait a minute, Shad, you got this equation wrong. Or at least nobody should. Come on, get a life, people. So yeah, but it's still a good book. Great characterizations. I don't want to spoil the plot until the actual review. Well, the thumbnail spoils a lot of the plot. Well, when I say it spoils it, it's like the synopsis talks about it. I'll go ahead and mention it. The main idea of the Shadow of the Conqueror book is, can the bad guy reform and become a good guy? And the protagonist is the reformed bad guy. It's really quite fascinating, and thankfully old Shaddy made it fairly realistic. I mean, the now good bad guy is still a colossal dick. And so it's really good in that regard. Some other books that I'm not going to be reviewing anytime soon, but I do want to recommend is there's a sequel to the novel Out of the Dark, written by David Weber. David, I get paid by the letter Weber. For those who, I'm sure many of you know who David Weber is. He's the guy who did the Honor Arrington series, which I find utterly boring. He's very famous in the sci-fi community, but by God, he must get paid by the letter, because he drags everything out. Like, I don't rate him nearly as high as Christopher Nuttall, and the reason I rate Christopher Nuttall so high is he's able to do a lot in just a very short period of time where you actually are invested in the story, whereas like David Weber, it's just like, come on, get on with it already. And David Weber can write good, though. He can write good. Well, I speak good, too. He can write well, though. The Apocalypse Troll is a late 90s book by him that is actually pretty good. It is kind of funny, though, to read the title now in 2021. The Apocalypse Troll, huh? The enemy uses memes. Actually, what's kind of funny is the actual troll in Apocalypse Troll is a cybernetic spacecraft that can use mind control. So he literally does use memes. It's a damn good book, though. I do recommend reading that. It's a standalone book, so it's not too bad. But Out of the Dark is an alien invasion novel that sort of is a send-up of the World War series by Harry Turtledove, which is where aliens invaded during World War II. The aliens that invade during Out of the Dark invade, I think, like in 2018, although the book is like from 2012 or something. It's not a bad book. Well, since there's a sequel, obviously humans won, so it's not really a spoiler. So here's a spoiler alert for those who care enough about such things. All right, alert over. So the book ends, and I found the book to be really, really boring, by the way, because David Weber just can't get to the goddamn point. But anyway, Dracula saves the day. Literally, Count Dracula and a bunch of vampires hijack alien shuttles, get to the alien ships, destroying the planet Earth, and they kill all the aliens and steal all the ships. Count goddamn Dracula. It was awesome, even though it came in like the last 2 chapters. The sequel is called Into the Light. Oh my god. And Into the Light is really good. It's better than Out of the Dark, but really, David, please, I'm begging you, just wrap it up already. I don't need to hear about a fucking card game. And, David Weber is, a fairly old writer, and I've noticed there's some, what I'm terming boomerisms in his Into the Light book. Because what I consider a boomerism is where it is very much something that, I guess only a boomer would think of. And I don't even like using the term boomer, but it works here so well. It's like, it's the future. They got all this super space technology, and they have, like, teenagers in the future playing Pinochle. I'm not even really sure what Pinochle is, and surely people in the future wouldn't still be playing such boring-ass card games. It's like, it's little things like that. Still a damn good book, though. Still a lot better than the previous one. But seriously, David, wrap it up, please. The other book I recommend reading is... I don't remember the title. Let me see here. Open up the old e-reader here. And it is Uncharted by Kevin J. Anderson and Sarah Hoyt. I never heard of Sarah Hoyt before, but I have heard... actually, I know who Sarah Hoyt is now. She co-wrote one of the Monster Hunter books with Larry Corey. But anyway, Kevin J. Anderson, needs no introduction. He did the Jedi Knight trilogy for Star Wars and a number of other books as well. He also has some issues with wrapping it up. He had a book series called Saga of the Seven Sons. And, my God, wrap it up, Kevin. Your book is not... I'm not going to get into what Saga of the Seven Sons is since I've already been going on for 18 minutes, but goddamn, it did not need to be like 12 books long. It was just one of those, super powerful alien races like killing everybody, and humanity and other aliens have to stop them. It was not worthy of 12 books. A trilogy would be nice. I'd honestly say a duology would be better, because the characters just weren't that great from what I recall. But anyway, Uncharted is really quite good. It's another one of those Alpha Prime books. It is a really imaginative concept, though. So, what happens is, in 1750, Halley's Comet gets blown up via magic, and then magic comes back to North America, and then there's this magical barrier separating North America from Europe. And so, the novel is set in 1803. There's magical technology, there's like dragons and stuff like that, and the wizard, the mighty wizard, the most powerful wizard in all the land, Benjamin Franklin, who uses electrical magic to fight dragons, commissions Meriwether Lewis to explore the unexplored territories of the North American continent. And of course, Meriwether Lewis teams up with Clark, whose first name I don't remember, to, find the Northwest Passage and possibly stop a evil sorcerer from taking over all the Native American tribes. It is a damn fine book. I've not completed it yet, but I'm about halfway through, and holy crap is it good. It has very good writing, very good characters, and it's just a really cool concept of, Lewis and Clark having to fight an evil sorcerer. Also trying to find the Northwest Passage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm GeneralLotz, and I'm going to wish you good, Uncharted, and good, Into the Light, whatever makes you happy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and if you can, please consider supporting me on Patreon so that I can continue bringing you this great content.